good time Philly, the party's here. I always knew where the party was. I was the guy either going the biggest party or throwing the party, the booze, the women, the drugs. That became like second nature for me.
Connect with us on the Emotion Wellness Podcast for a transformative journey of human connection. Witness personal stories, improve your mental health education, and acquire valuable resources for optimizing your well-being. And visit emotionwellness.com for more information.
Welcome to the Emotion Wellness Podcast. My name is Jason Turner, and as always, I'm here with my boy and the hype man himself, Mr. Frank Parisi.
And we have today, man. Listen. I don't get super excited for things.
Well, you're full of shit.
I get excited for everything. I get excited when I wake up, but I get more excited because you, brother, Ron. We got a special guest all the way from Vancouver, Canada, guys. Pro hockey player, international drug smuggler, Ryan Phillips. He lived fast, got locked up abroad. He's on the show, Locked Up Abroad, and the King of Weed, and came back with a story you won't believe. He has known as the King of Weed, and now he's the King of Redemption, bro. Welcome to the show, all the way from Canada. Let's go.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that introduction. God, how about those identities I've taken on along my physical plane of existence trail? Wow. I think I might be more excited than you, Frankie. I mean, I was so drawn to your pain to purpose story, come back from life from the beginning. Like, I think it's been about a year, and we connected like pretty much right away, right after I think I reached out to you, and just at the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I think we, the ones that kind of overcome the most adversity, are attracted to each other, and by the grace of God, we can make a difference in the world to really help other people through the mud.
Brother, 110%, and that's what drew me to you. And we've connected now for over a year, and it's been really cool, man. It's been cool to watch your journey, because I've seen you over the past year transform yourself as well. I mean, you've been on the path of growth and evolution and elevation, but I've seen personally you really start to evolve, and self-awareness and self-reflection. And man, I am inspired by you, Ryan, and all that you've done and overcome, brother. So welcome to the show. I want to start out, bro. So being that you live, like for our guests, you lived in Canada, right? What was it like growing up in Canada, and what did hockey mean to you?
Great question. Well, I grew up in the mountains, right? So all I knew was the mountains and the river and the ocean that was about 10 minutes away from me growing up. The city was maybe 15, 20 minutes on a good day with no traffic. Traffic maybe about 45. I never really went to the city, at such a young age. I remember my grandfather literally teaching me the laws of nature. Like, nature never deviates its way from its well-established laws of growth. He would just teach me how everything was a system.
I love
and from a young age, literally, I felt a real strong connection to nature. And like my background, my backyard was my playground. That was the river, fishing and just running around like a maniac. And then it just so happened that I think I was born with a hockey stick in my hands as well. So, man, started playing organized hockey at 5. My dad, he was the first Canadian to jump 6 feet in the high jump. And so, Olympic guy and, big athlete dude. So he was my idol. He really pushed me hard. I think a lot of times too hard, but, living vicariously through his son. So, I was just always busy, sports and, art and everything that kind of goes along with being a kid in Canada. So, man.
Awesome. So what was your mindset as a young athlete, brother? And did you ever envision yourself, playing at the level that you did?
Well, that my dominating dream, literally, from the time that I saw Wayne Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky was my idol. Christ, I had Wayne Gretzky bed sheets, Wayne Gretzky wallpaper. Like my whole life was literally, I was like trying to be Wayne Gretzky. And so I guess I was kind of like that childhood prodigy in my area. There was myself and a guy by the name of Paul Correa back in the day.
So you played with Paul Correa?
Yeah, Paul's a year older than me,
And
and
Mighty Duck. Him and Temu Solani. Go ahead.
so actually, Paul was an equally or greater lacrosse player than he was hockey. I mean, he was just so gifted. But guys like Brett Hall, he went to my high school. Joe Murphy, first round draft pick. Like there was just it was a kind of a hotbed of like real good hockey players where I grew up. So there was no plan B. Like I was playing in the NHL and that was it. No, like that was like I had to be the best, and I was really super focused. Never got myself involved with any drugs or booze. Like I was just like my mindset was like full on. I'll be playing the NHL by 18 years old, and that's it. And obviously, the universe, God had a different plan for this kid. Left home when I just turned 16. It's a pretty young age to be leaving home, new high school. Now I'm a rookie playing on a team with mostly 18, 19, and 20-year-olds in the best junior hockey league in Canada. And I was about to find out real fast what initiations and hazing and what hockey culture was. I trying to fit in, at such a young age, everything was so new. And, next thing I know, the brunt of all the jokes and the hazing was not an easy deal. And, alcohol, sex, drugs, and rock and roll was right beside the hockey. That was right intertwined with the hockey culture. So that first week away from home, I went to my first nightclub, my first strip bar, and my first bonfire, bush part. It was crazy, and I didn't really know how to fit in. It was a lot, and my coach didn't play me. He was like, "Oh, we're going to teach this young kid a lesson, and just like put him on the bench, and ease him in slow, whatever." And yeah, it wasn't good emotionally. I wasn't able to really handle it very well. So, yeah.
Wow. And what was that like? Like, what did that? Okay. Where did that turn to, Ryan? Like, what was the internal condition, and what was the internal dialogue during that time?
Well, yeah, that after that first drunk, so to speak, I, I think I became almost addicted right away because it was able to really suppress the emotions. And I was a really sensitive kid growing up. I was really sensitive to my surroundings. I was very empathic, and I always really cared about people. And then just to see kind of what was going on, like right away, it was just like, oh my God, okay, well, this gives you almost like a false sense of power and confidence. And yeah, it was just full on, like every day. It was the booze. It was like that whole fast lane was just like immediately. So,
And how long did that last for you, Ryan?
well, that was just the beginning. I got hurt, really hurt, my first 2 years on a few different injuries. I won't go like super into it, but my draft year was the very following year, and 7 games into that season, I was going full speed towards the net, and I got hit from behind, and went into the boards, and I shattered my shoulder. It broke my shoulder in 3 places, broke my collarbone in half, and hit my head up against the boards, and took a very serious concussion. And I was knocked out for over a minute on the ice. Got up. There's 15,000 fans in the stands that game. It was Tacoma versus Seattle, so packed house at the Tacoma Dome. My mom and dad were there, my grandparents. I remember getting up and like looking at my dad, and like I could see like 5 of them, and I was like, I just knew that I was screwed. I was 17 years old. This is my draft year. Like I was just, oh my God, and literally my shoulder dropped like half a foot. I get under the bench, and like just like you're caught in the moment, and like I knew I was screwed. And next thing you know, my coach kicks me in the butt. I jump back on the ice, and
Ooh.
the puck hit my stick, and I was just that was it. I was so much pain. Got taken to the dressing room. They cut the jersey off me, took me to the hospital, shot me up with morphine, painkillers, all that kind of stuff because it was bad. Put me in a brace, and right there, it was nuts. They gave me painkillers, Percocets, Vicodins, and I was like instantly like that took away the pain. So I was washing that down with. I was out for 5 months. the 5 months of the season, I'm in Tacoma, my draft year, not playing, not like feeling part of the team, going to a new school, all that kind of stuff, and like the depression and the anxiety that kicked in, and the alcoholism that kicked in, because I just didn't know how to fit in, man. And like my dream just felt like it was being shattered, and I didn't know who to talk to. How, like my dad was just like, hang in there, stick in there. I'm like, why am I even here? Like, why don't I just like come home and go back to, like, I really was homesick. I missed the mountains, which where I came from. And yeah, that's, no victimization, because everything happens for a reason. But that was basically like the real like kicker that, set into motion some serious addictive behavioral patterns.
When did you know that the dream was not happening?
Well, I'm kind of one of those guys that never gives up. I don't have give up in my makeup. And I guess my talent kind of carried me through. It was so hurtful. Like literally, like my hockey it was like the love of my life that turned into my greatest, like a nightmare. Like literally, I would like just to go into the dressing room because of all like the stuff that was going on, and all, like, literally it was trauma. I didn't know it was called trauma back then, but it was just early trauma from the hockey culture. And not say, look, I got incredible friends in the hockey world, that's for sure, still to this day, but it just wasn't kind from the get-go. And I would say that, I pushed through, teams still wanted me, but I was like, then I became labeled the party guy, good time Philly. My nickname's Philly. Everyone, good time Philly, the party's here. I always knew where the party was. I was the guy either going the biggest party or throwing the party, the booze, the women, the drugs. It just became like second nature for me. And I just kind of was riding it out. I did turn pro when I turned 20. Halfway through that season, I turned pro and I went to Wichita, Kansas to play in the Central Hockey League. And I thought, maybe here's a chance to kind of get it going, but that now I got my own apartment. Now I'm playing with grown men. I'm getting paid better money. And yeah, that was just, it was a gong show.
How long did you play professional hockey, Ryan?
Parts of 5 seasons, and I had some injuries. It was just like one injury after the next, and a few concussions turned into like cluster concussions. And then, like, when you're on a negative vibration, you're attracting negative into your life, so to speak. So it's like, any dominating dream or idea, plan, or purpose injected into the faculty of the subconscious mind will reproduce itself in outward physical reality. Well, it was doing that because of what I was sending out in thought vibrations back then. I just know the terminology. It was like vibrationally, I was expecting bad shit to happen. It wasn't good. So the injuries, the adversity, just like which then basically cultivated the king of weed.
So let's get into. I love what you're saying. I resonate with everything that you're saying. But let's get into that. So how do you go from Canada? Now you're a professional hockey player who's now kind of going down the wrong path. Mm-hmm. How does it get into you becoming the king of weed? Take us through that.
Well, so playing down in the United States of America at a young age and being the party guy, you're meeting all the drug dealers. Who's the hockey players party with? The drug dealers. And when I was 17, I'm meeting guys at UW University of Washington. And, so they know people and everyone knows people. And at the time, BC Bud was the big deal. The hydroponic weed, there was a big movement, the Bud game. Everyone's got these new, hydroponic grow houses all over our province. And in the U.S., it was accepted in Canada. BC was accepted. And in the U.S., it was not really accepted. I mean, there wasn't a lot of it down there. And the penalties were huge, and the dollar amount, for a pound of marijuana in Canada back then in BC, it was like, $2,500 Canadian. Down in Seattle, I found out I could get, 3,200 US. You do the profit with on that. Once you get it across the border, you're making $1,500 a pound. So I was like, okay, well, start with one. One turned into 10 pretty quick, turned into 100 pretty quick, and next thing you know, you're not driving it across yourself anymore. You got other people doing it for you, and then it turns into blueberry farms and helicopters and planes and hollowed out forestries and cattle rigs and anything you do to get it over, right? Under the radar.
So you were using airplanes.
Yes. Yeah. Airplanes.
How much were you smuggling in at a time?
Well, at the height of it, at the whole deal, so to speak, there was weeks we do 1,000 a week. So, yeah, it got really big. Yeah, it got, and
Well, how old were you at this time, Ryan?
pardon me.
How old were you at this time?
I started when I was 20. Yeah, and it
20
kind of
years
felt.
old.
I was 20 years old when it started. Yeah, when it was going like big, So,
And you were transporting basically like $300,000 worth of pot every week over.
well, I'd say a little more than that.
More than
100 pounds back then was about 275,000. So, times that by three, sometimes three times a week, right? So, it
wow.
said, I found a bushwhack with helicopter aerial maps when I was in my early 20s. So I had hiking crews going through the forest. I had blueberry farms on the border, with gas tanks that were all like modified and magnets and all that kind of stuff. And oh yeah, I became obsessed with it. I was like, when I look back on it, there was just so much. There was more money to be made in smuggling marijuana at that time than playing in the National Hockey League or the NBA, for crying out loud. Look, if you do the math, right? Especially when it got to bigger markets like Chicago and New York. It was a 24 around the clock 7 job for me. Just as a kind of like a creative mastermind, pretty much. It was like, I think at one point I was buying like 80% of the marijuana in my province with my crew. And then you're associated with different people that we won't name on this podcast, and we all kind of needed each other in those times, and it was mafia, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I grew up with that kind of stuff, a lot of bikers, and my great grandma, she was the oldest lady in BC when she passed away. She actually was in the beginning years of Prohibition with her husband, who was all Russian mafia, doing bootlegging in the 40s, booze from Canada down to the States. So I grew up around that stuff. So like, even though I was from the mountains, it's still like I still grew up with like organized crime.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Ryan,
Yeah.
how does it go for you from, that the height, right? The success, the mass distribution. How does it go from that to the world that you live in now? Like, what was the precipice that got you moving in the direction of the path that you're currently on? Like, what switched for you?
Well, when I first started doing it, I never looked at it as like I'm a drug dealer. I'm like, oh, I'm not selling drugs in Canada. I'm just getting it from point A to point B. It was just, to me, it was just like it was a game, right? And so I kind of almost like made sense of it, like I wasn't doing anything wrong. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything in my own backyard. So it's just more like, I don't know, the people I was even associating with weren't like druggies or anything. We were like almost like high class citizens to look at in a way. We didn't look like drug dealers, like like we didn't. Anyways, but that kind of caught up to me. People started, I was one of the early pioneers with that, and people just started finding out what was like the kind of amount of money that was involved in that stuff. It was just crazy. People started trading it for other stuff down there too, right? Like the white stuff. I never did. I was around people that did. Yes, I was, but I didn't get involved with bringing the bricks back. I guess what happened was a gang war broke out in like 2007, and people were dropping like flies. And I got, what now, it wasn't like fun anymore. I was like, it was real fun, because it was like my whole goal is like, I want to be able to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. That was just it. And I did. And then next thing you know, people kind of find out what kind of money you have, what kind of money you're making, the houses you live in, all that kind of stuff. And it was like, my world just started caving in, where I was like literally living in fear all the time. And, you got this kind of false sense of power persona that you kind of got to live up to. And it just became really lame. And, I started getting really down on myself. I was hammered drunk every night, partying, doing way too much drugs. Ecstasy and cocaine was literally like, I just felt like there was just no way out. And I guess I went to prison. Obviously, in 2000, I got a conspiracy to import charge.
How old were you at this time, Ryan?
I had just turned 24 when I got my conspiracy to import charged. I did
So
over
you were
five
playing hockey while you were
doing that.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I was playing hockey while I was doing that in the end, and yeah, I tried, try lacing them up playing hockey while you're figuring out how many pounds you're going to get across the border that week. It's pretty nuts.
Well,
Then
no.
crazy, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's just wild. I was like, I didn't think I was going to live past 25. Like, I remember, like, being in my mom's kitchen, like shaking her head at me. I always drank way more than the rest of our family. And I'm like, I'm doing bumps in the bathroom and, I got my diamond watches on and it's it's just gong show, man. And yeah, and I remember being like, I'm going to live to the fullest. By the time I'm 25, I'm going to travel the world, do all this. I don't care. I was like just reckless, man. And yeah, I just finally, I got out of jail.
Well,
And
how did you got arrested? You got arrested at 24. Take us through that. What happened?
so one of my driver actually ripped me off in Canada for £100 about 2 weeks before I got busted, and I didn't know it was him. I didn't know I had anybody. I was like, oh my god, someone's out to get me. My safe house got kicked in. £100 got ripped off, and I was like, there's no way this is an inside job. There's no way. My partner was all hooked in with some certain people, and I went to bat for my hiker guys and my driver, and I was like, look, we can dwell on this and take the hit, which was a lot of money at the time, or we can just get another load across the border and make it back in one shot. So, and I'll go with these guys. I'm like, I never hiked. I ran the hiking crew. And anyways, that fateful day, I could feel that something was up. I decided to hike with these guys, and we got to the other side of the border. It was about a 5-6 hour bushwhack through the mountains, and our driver was late. And next thing it's getting dark out. He shows up late, and he says to me, he's like, I think I might have been followed. I was a pink neon was following me, and I was like, what? And I'm drenched, pouring rain that day, and a plane went across us too. A plane went across us as we were going through the mountains. And anyways, I was like, really? You think you got? No, it's fine. He said, there's no way a pink neon wouldn't be a ghost car. And anyways, I said, well, let's do that. I was gonna sleep on the packs in the mountains that night and be like, let's just do it tomorrow. But we decided to do it, and next thing you know, we're about 10 miles down the Mount Baker Highway on the United States side. Helicopters over top of the vehicle. Holy shit, we're screwed. For a minute there, I was like, let's make a run for it into the river or the other side of the mountain. just run. But then we would have got shot at. And anyways, we pulled over. They yanked us out of the car, guns to the head, shotguns to the head, which is very traumatic. And that was the beginning of the legal system. Got over 500 days without seeing the light of day in a maximum federal pen there down in SeaTac, Washington. So I guess my humor got me through jail down there. I didn't have any issues. It was like a college for criminals. I met all new contacts, and it was pretty wild.
What did it look like after that, Ryan? So you served, how much time did you get?
Yeah, I did 18 months. I had good time. I did 18 months, which is really, but it felt like 5 years because we didn't see the light of day. I was a flight risk, so they put us in maximum, and like it was not easy. Not having any fresh air at all. Like there was no outdoor yard. We were inside, and I did take. I was sober the whole time in there, so my mind was really clear. And there was this old guy in there that was really, I would kind of go through depression and stuff like that. And he would start teaching me about tuning into the finer laws of the universe in there and manifestation. But so I'd lay in my cell at night and I'd put my headphones on, but I'd be manifesting more pounds going across the border. So I was pissed off. They banned me for life, right? I got banned for life. never to be allowed back to the U.S. again, where my daughter was actually born. And so when I got out, I was like literally fully equipped with new contacts to rebuild a criminal empire pretty quick. So hold on, hey buddy. But hey, I'm at my buddy's restaurant right now. So
We're good. We could edit. Don't worry.
so so what happened was literally like, the first night I got let out at the border was a big party. It was girls and blow. I won't say the other name. And it was, my buddies were just business had been put on hold for quite a little while I was in there, because I was the guy that had all the contacts. I wasn't supposed to be in jail. Now I'm in jail, so no one had access to my contacts down there. I get out of jail, and it was like, here we go. Let's spark up again. So within 2 days after jail, there was like 4 programs getting fired up again. And, the millions just started pouring in like nobody's business. It was next level. And I was so pissed off at the U.S. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to send as many pounds as down there just to, I had like a personal vendetta that I just was going to, pepper the U.S. with as many pounds of marijuana as I could. So that's what I did. And, the partying went to another level. And, I wasn't allowed down in the States, which was like my home away from home. I loved Vegas. I loved LA. I was like the West Coast Philly guy. All my friends were down there. I was so devastated that I couldn't go back down to the States again. And plus, number one, my daughter was down there, right? So that went on for almost 5 years, where I was still dabbling in it on a fairly big level, but then things got really really dangerous. People dying all over, overdoses, deaths, and the party was over, so to speak. And I remember waking up after about a 3-day bender at my big mansion I was living in. And I was just like so done. I remember being on my knees. I had this party with like 400 plus people with a DJ. My place was going off for days, and I'm like, now I'm all on my own at this house. Everyone left, massive mess for the maids to clean up. I told them to get the hell out, and I just cried. I had like a mental breakdown, man. I was like, I think you might have seen that in the King of Weed episode. Like they showed like a little bit of it, but like straight up, I just had it. Like no amount of money was filling me up. I was empty. Absolutely empty. And I prayed on my knees, like, God, please get me out of this. Just get me out of this. And then then I started getting sober. I started going to AA meetings.
What was that shift, Ryan? What like is there a moment? Was there a moment for you? Was there a moment of clarity? Like,
Yeah, well, there was. Like, it was actually I've been like kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out with like going to AA meetings, but like I'm going to AA meetings with like 3 blackberries on my waist and my my platinum Brett. I look like one of those guys, So I'm like, I got guys looking at me in you're working an honest program, and I'm like doing what I'm doing. I felt so guilty. I'm like, I'm not this person, and I was like really fighting like an ego death, so to speak. And it was so like intertwined and attached to that identity of like, I'm Ryan, the kingpin weed guy, and like I'm the best at this. No one can take my position, kind of thing. But it was just like gig was up, and I was driving more out of the rear view mirror than I was the front view mirror. I was like literally, I was terrified. I got out of it. I got extorted for a couple mil by some big gang here, and then I had to have my guys talk to these guys. Like, it was just like, you're never like, you're not immune to murder, man. Like, no one is. Like, you see, oh, he's untouchable. He's with these guys. Well, yeah, I was with those guys, but those guys get it too, right? It's like, it's mob shit. And I was like, if I don't stop here, I could feel it, but intuitively, you have that vital sixth sense that kicks in with the program. We're intuitively able to handle situations that used to baffle us. Well, that was one of them. And so I was like, yeah, literally, I was at my house after this big party, and I was, kind of diving in and out of AA, and I was like, I gotta stop. Like, and so I don't care what I just prayed. I was praying and praying. So I went and sat with my guys and who are, you know, pretty serious dudes. And I was like, look, I'm out. I don't care what. I'm like, you guys, you can have all my contacts, take them all. What do you need? I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I'm making a change. And they weren't happy. They're like, well, we got to eat and all this kind of stuff, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, what do you need? You know, like I gave them all the plates that so they could eat. And you know, at that time, right now, I like right there, I wrote it down. I was like, I dedicate my life to being of maximum service to God, like straight up. And you know, then I just started doing the next right thing, and like I guess like everyone thought it was so out of character for me to start like giving back. And you know, like the only thing that really made me happy was truly like being of service, right? And I just started working the program harder. You know, I was reading Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, you know, and I constructed, you know, auto suggestion in Napoleon Hill to be able to go back down to the States to see my daughter again. It said you could be, do, or have whatever you want. Well, I wanted to prove them. I was like, okay, well, they say I can never go back down to the States again. Well, let's try this simple formula. So I wrote down it on a card. I am so grateful by this date to be allowed back in the U.S. to see my daughter again. I am of divine service to humanity, yada, yada, yada. And I went to town on that card, literally, for like 2 years. 100 times a day, reading it with like emotion and faith and desire and purpose, all that kind of stuff, right? And you know, people thought I was nuts. And you know, I carry with a card with me all the time still, you know. Obviously medium, right? The medium to influence the subconscious mind. So next thing I know, it's 2012. I'm doing a film on happiness. I'm in a country called Laos, which borders Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam. And I'm skipping rope at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and this actress friend of mine gets a hold of me, and she's in Los Angeles. She's like, "Oh, right." She's like, "Right, I seen you're doing this film on happiness over there and like giving back. I'm so proud of you." I'm like, "Yeah, it's, you know, I'm just trying to do the right thing and whatever." And anyway, she's like, "Do you want to ride bikes across Cambodia to help raise awareness for the eradication of human trafficking and child sex slavery?" And I didn't even know what that was. Like, I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Is there kids involved?" Like, yeah, okay, well, I'm in. So next thing I know, I'm riding a bike with these incredible people from all over the world. And yeah, we're going across Cambodia. And Cambodia is such an incredible country, so near and dear to my heart. And the day so I flew out the day that it was, this is the Coles notes, guys. The day that the bike ride was done, incredible night that night. We celebrated, and I'm reading this card with full faith every day still during the ride. And the next that night I flew to Chiang Mai, Thailand, slept maybe 3 or 4 hours tops. And I woke up at about 6 o'clock that next morning to my father sent me an email. He said, "Ryan, today's the day that we can rejoice as a family. You've been granted full access back down to the United States of America for business and for pleasure as a humanitarian." I was just like, what? You know, and we actually caught it on film. It was nuts, man. And like, so like this shit works, you know, auto suggest, you know, the power of self-belief and all that, like the power of self-belief, right? So like, truly, I believe that anything is possible with God. Anything is possible. And yeah, I mean, I count that moment sacred, right? That we realize that we're instruments to which higher powers are projecting themselves through, right? So,
Bro, I love you. Fucking A.
I love you too.
I do, dude. I mean, we had the backstory, but we needed to get to that.
Right?
You know,
I mean,
like that's the beauty of tapping in and doing the deep work.
yeah, it
You,
is. But it's, you know, it's not me. It's all God. I'm just, you know, the source is pouring through the source. We're just the extension to higher powers. That's it, right? So, but it's a special thing. I got to take my sobriety cake tonight in front of 100 people and do my testimony again. I just turned 50 a couple days ago, and like I said, I didn't think I was going to make it past 25. So if we can, through the power of pure storytelling, you know, tap into the truth from our heart and give these stories of inspiration, if we can just help one person, man, just
Right,
one
brother.
person, that creates a ripple effect. Like, I'm so grateful that you and I have connected, and I truly believe that we're going to do great things together in this world, right? So this is only the beginning. You got to
Only
get me.
dude, and I know that and not to get off topic because I want to get back to a little bit more of the story too, but like I know you're like looking to do like a documentary film, like both of us would be on it because he's got an amazing story too. I just want you to understand that too. He's a Pat Tillman Scholar Award winner, 10-year Army veteran, American
Wow.
hero here, and one of the most genius people that I've ever met. So we could talk about that off camera, but I know you're shooting that, and it's something amazing that we all could do together. Plus a lot more stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, it's all we can do whatever we put our mind to. Hey, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, right?
Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely. Man, amazing. So let me ask you, go ahead. You're going to show us this?
Oh, if you, I just it's creatures of habit, right? So
Yeah.
I will read it though. This is the new auto suggestion,
Let me
and
hear.
I'll tell you how this. Would you? So I'm at this restaurant right now because we're doing this organically. Is it okay if I move into my car?
Sure.
Yeah.
Is the music okay?
I don't hear music.
We're not hearing anything.
Is it okay, guys?
Yeah.
My friends are like getting all like they're getting all set up here. They let me come when the music. I've been coming here for years. So my auto suggestion is by December 4th, 2025, I'll have $5 million, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. I give the most efficient service I am capable of rendering, the best possible service and salesman of bridging cultures, connecting humanity through universal oneness, divine service, da da da. Okay, I believe I will have this money. My faith is so strong, I can see this before my eyes. There's products, there's gatherings, and there's multiple films. So, hey, it's not about me though. You guys are in it. We're all bridging cultures. So, use me.
Absolutely, brother. I love it. So let me ask you this, Ryan. What is it right now? Like, what does it look like for you? You've gone through this whole transformation.
Yeah.
What does life look like for you, brother?
That's a great question. So, 14 months ago, I had just done a project on forgiveness in Texas. I was in just outside of Dallas, and I was coming off of benzodiazepines, I was misdiagnosed with bipolar in 2014. But before that, I was having these like crazy anxiety attacks, which now I understand was unresolved trauma and concussions in and out of hockey. And my good old doctor put me on benzodiazepines, which is like a tranquilizer, like Xanax, clonazepam. They're harder to come off than heroin. Those things, and they actually cause a neurological injury called bind. Benzodiazepine induced neurological disorder. It's brutal. So I don't know if you guys know much about these. I try to talk much about it, but they basically like so many, there's 92 million of these benzo prescriptions in the US alone last year. 57% of the people that try to come off them either take their life or end up in a psych ward. And I for a couple years I was taking more than I should have because I couldn't, the anxiety was so bad. But it was unresolved trauma that I hadn't dealt with. And it's just like my doctor, unfortunately, I didn't know. I didn't get it. Anyways, I'd been trying to come off them for the last 7 years, little by little. And at one point, I was like, am I going to be able to get off these things? It's crazy because I tried to get off them, and I was like, the insomnia and the withdrawals were so bad. And anyways, I did this thing on forgiveness in Texas, and I was like, it opened up all the trauma, the sexual abuse, all the death experiences. I've been in some pretty bad car accidents, knocked out of my body completely, then come back into my body. That's why I really resonated with your story, Frank. Is I have the same heart still. I haven't had the heart transplant, but I've died and I've been completely outside of my body, and I had like a choice to either go up or go back down. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, and I remember coming back into my body, like I was gone, and then came back, and then boom, all of a sudden my eyes open and I'm like got a neck brace around my neck in the back of this fucking ambulance. Anyway, so all these crazy traumas that I just didn't know how to deal with, because I've always was the guy that people were telling their problems to me. I didn't want to like show my weakness, especially being in hockey and organized crime. A sign of weakness means like you get your mind, you can get walked over. So I was always like had that outer guard of like I didn't want people to get too close to me. If you knew too much about me, then my close buddies did to a certain extent, but I was always that guy that was like couldn't be broken, you know. Anyways, you do AA long enough and you work a spiritual program, vulnerability is spiritual strength, and you start really like pouring out your heart as just being the best version of yourself, all these like spiritual principles. Anyways, trying to come off these benzos, this is like a little over 14 months ago. I'm down to like half a pill, like hardly anything, and I'm doing it all on my own with God, obviously. And after I did this, like it was a little film project, I was like, I sought out one of the top doctors in the world for complex PTSD in Thailand. So I flew to Thailand, go do an intensive with this doctor. Like he was going to do all like the reprogramming with like EMDR, like different modalities to like repattern the thinking with the old trauma, reverse trauma modalities. And the day I was supposed to go see him, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm outside this big sanctuary in Chiang Mai, Thailand, where I got my pardon. Yeah, I felt kind of drawn to there too. His top client and best friend committed suicide. And I was like, oh my God. And he's like, I can't see you right now. So I got a flight from there to Koh Samui, there to Bangkok to Koh Samui, took a boat from there to a little island called Koh Phangan to go do like my own wellness retreat on my own, cold tubs and work out and just kind of try to just like meditate and go to meetings. And the second day that I was there, I got hit by a drunk driver. I got hit by a drunk driver. I'll send you the pictures. It's fucking nuts. You can put this on your podcast too, and the nuts, man.
Yeah.
So I was killed. 6 Germans in a truck hit me on purpose. They were swerving on the road. I went to go past them to let them know they were swerving. They swerved right into me on purpose, hit me. I was almost killed. I shattered my ankle in half. I got shot 40 feet. The bike was just totaled. Blood all over me. I was a train wreck, man. 6 screws in my leg right now. 6 screws in a plate. Talk about spiritual warfare. Anyways, by the grace of God, I was able to make it back to Vancouver on that, and I made a deal with God. I said, God, get me through this. I'll be off the benzodiazepines, and I promise to render maximum service to God in a way that we've never done before. And literally 2 weeks after coming back to Vancouver, the surgery was done. My mom and my dad were incredible. I think a lot of the reason was coming back to make amends and some stuff with my folks. And so like I wasn't going to come back to Canada, to Vancouver. I really liked Thailand. I was loving it over there. Anyways, came back here, God works in mysterious ways. And so I've been off the benzodiazepines now for 14 months. Nothing, off benzos, no alcohol it's been 7 years. I took 7 years 2 days ago. And how many people are in the program or taking these pills that like maybe we can inspire somehow in some way to get off them? Because my experience with those benzos is that they cut me off from the source, from my higher power. Not fully, because you're never cut off fully, but those chemicals inside a spiritual being, physical body is not healthy. And so since I've got off those pills, even though I've had the benzo injury, the source coming through my physical apparatus, so to speak, like meeting a lot of people, even in that mastermind group that we're in, has been like full on. Like now it's like all the possibilities are starting to come in the vortex. And that's like, from coming off the benzos and addressing this trauma. So it's crazy, eh?
Amazing, brother.
Yeah, it's wild.
Absolutely amazing. I love it.
And since I've been off not one bad thing, so to speak, has happened since I've been off the benzos. That benzo journey was a gong show, man. I don't wish that on my worst. Actually, maybe on pedophiles.
Yes.
When you got how long ago was the pardon?
2012, I got the pardon.
So you were in Thailand when you find out, or
Yeah,
Cambodia?
yeah.
What, how long was it from that moment till you went to the US, and what was the first trip?
5 days later, I flew to Wichita, Kansas, where my daughter was, and I hit a camera and knocked on her door. And in real time, she answered the door. I set it up with her mom, and she looked like she saw a ghost slash Superman at the same time, and literally jumped into my arms. And it was like, oh my God! So it all, like, dreams do come true. You just have to have faith and believe.
Amazing. So in your practice of the manifestation, when the moment comes full circle, right? So it's like I think of all these moments, and I did something similar with my business. So
Yeah,
I was about to take my life at a Whataburger, and then within 7 or 8 months, I had launched the business that it had taken me almost 20 years to finally to finally get it. And I visualized phone calls and the way it was going to go, and the business trajectory. I did it all. I did the very, very similar. It wasn't a written card, but it was dedicated time to
right.
creating vision. I'm curious, like, when it came full circle for you in that moment with your daughter, is there a revisit to the practice that you did? Like, was there do you think about all the moments of visualizing it, and is there some sort of comparison to, oh, this is exactly how I imagined it? Like, once it happens, what was your response to how you created it?
Well, I mean, from my experience, I'm a firm believer that the way we feel equals our point of attraction, right? So, like, people always are like, oh, well, we got to use law of attraction. No, you already are using it. Every single nanosecond that we're here on this physical
Yeah, yeah.
existence, you don't have to access it. It's already being accessed right now, in the power of now, so to speak. Right now,
Yeah.
everything is attracting and vibrating at a certain frequency, right?
Hmm.
So with awareness, amplified awareness, be the observer outside the observer. You can see what's manifesting in your physical reality almost like holographically, right? So it's like almost like we're holographic images projecting themselves to a physical instrument, becoming self-aware, right? So
Hmm.
it's all awareness. And like the universe is basically like a well-stocked kitchen. You can just literally like pick and choose like this, right?
Yes.
So, but when you're dumbed down with alcohol, drugs, or whatever, so that cuts the extension off to source. So then you're not manifesting good things, so to speak. But when you're a clean vessel,
Media, music,
yeah,
all that too. Politics, low
all of
vibrative state. Yeah.
it. So even like mental illness, I don't like that name, mental illness. I'd rather say society illness. It's what society is bestowing upon us human beings here, that were like, all these distractions that are like, they're trying to take you away from everything that's so beautiful, right? That's why I love nature so much. When I go into nature, it just cuts everything off, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is what it's all about, right?
Yeah. I get it.
As far as like the practices, I guess the reason why I put it on a card, because the moment that you write something down, it takes the intangible into the tangibles.
I
Right?
love it. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. I
So
just didn't know if you were like, if you think about like, I think about anything I've worked hard for. It's like practicing in hockey, or if you're, even the hard work that you did when you were in your illegal profession, like
right,
regardless of, it's like there's a lot of work there and effort. When the benefits or the reward comes, it's like I've had moments of reflection on, I guess just an overwhelming sense of gratitude, right? For
yeah,
the process, for my willingness to invest the time. Because really, what we're saying, at least for me, what we're saying when we create and we're willing to. I have friends that don't have a passport, right? And I'll talk to them about, why do you not have a passport? Well, it has to do with subconscious self-worth, because I'm not going to take a trip. I'm not. It's almost as if it's like the frequency is, I'm not worth a trip. That's not for me. And it's a physical way to start to relate to yourself and build a bridge back to self that says, I'm valuable, I'm worthy, I am, I belong to take, I matter to myself,
yeah,
right? And so, I've felt that. It's the name of our business is emotion. Emotions are where the feeling is, where the power is, right? So when we're creating, and I think a lot of people, I love your experience and how you shared it, because I do think we don't have a ton of listeners. We're moving in that direction, but in our community and the people who are attracted to us, I think they get hung up a lot on things like vision boards and creativity and understanding how to transform, because they miss out on the fact that it's about feeling it. It's about really having that emotion behind it. And we talk a lot with people who are substance users and abusers, and it's like the biggest emotion that drives your frequency is shame.
For sure, for sure.
And if you think of how powerful shame is an incredibly powerful fuel to create that frequency of victimization and low energy and like hiding out from the world, right? And feeling like we don't really matter and we don't have worth. And so when people are trying to transform that, they're bringing in things like what I would call rote prayers and checklists and tasks, right? You probably see this in AA. It's like, I'm a good AA boy. I called my sponsor. I did X. I did this. I went to a meeting, and I call that task-oriented sobriety. So I'll ask people like, okay, you did all the things, but when's the last time you character assassinated somebody, you gossiped, you lied to yourself, you talked down to yourself? Those are the behaviors where the real emotion is. So I just really appreciate your process and you sharing what you did about how you did it, because I do think people listening to this need to hear that it requires work, it requires commitment, and your passion comes through, your excitement comes through, and your consistency. It's not like
Yeah,
it was
just consistency there.
yeah.
And one thing too is like the worthiness, the understanding and knowing that you're worthy of receiving it. Like you have to like truly believe that you're worthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing that holds a lot of people back.
Yeah, if it's not showing up for me, that means there's something I got to work on as far as like my self-worth and my
Yeah.
worthiness. So many years I hated myself, man. I was like, I was so like the number one person I was the most resentful for was to myself.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I mean, just stuff that I did, the way I disrespected money, like I had so much money at one point. I was just pushing it away. I was like, giving it away. Here you go. Oh, you need 500. Here you need 100. So I was like, I think I paid off probably 100 plus people's Visa cards. You know what I mean? I was just like, get it away from me. This money's killing me. I buy a brand new car and I'd look out out my window and I'd be like, I don't deserve that. So I'm a pickup guy, and I'd give it away. That next day, I was giving away cars like nobody's. I've given away like dozens and dozens of cars, but it's crazy, right? So like my relationship with abundance got really was not in good standing, and it's just starting to come back now because I'm a huge proponent in serve more, earn more. Like that's what I could have put 20 million on this card. I could have put 50 million. The reason why it's 5 is because I believe I can handle that response. I mean, I used to see that every week. You know what I mean? But I can handle that responsibly, and then the people around me, they're all going to thrive and be abundant too. So the more we all have together as a unit, as a team, then the more that we can serve, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I am here to serve. Nothing more, nothing less. Use me to serve with humility and gratitude. 100%. And God knows that. So maybe I wasn't full on 100% a couple years ago. And I couldn't be when I was on the benzos. But now, I never thought I'd say I'm grateful for this ankle being shattered and almost killed. But it's just like you, Frankie, like with your heart. Like that heart, you have a 19-year-old girl's heart in your chest. And oh my goodness, I can feel you from here, bro. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And then through the ether, we're having this podcast. It's such a great experience. I'm truly you guys are my friends, and that means a lot to me.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, I love you, bro. I'm so grateful that you joined us here today. Really, all the way from Canada too. Great interview. You have anything else for me? And
No, man, I resonated a lot with the process of manifestation and the creation, as well as the serving. There's a common theme for and I'm sure there's people out there have had success that don't fit this, but in my perspective and my experience, the people that I aspire to be, the ones that I'm drawn to, and I'm drawn to them for numerous reasons, none of which have to do with their bank accounts. It always has to do with, but they always have big bank accounts, the ones I'm drawn to, but their life is big, meaning they're doing really cool shit. They're living in a way that is in harmony with their authentic self. And it's service. Like, that's the thing. When I look around at the people who I admire most, I'm like, wait, there's these two things: service and God. Those are the two ingredients of everyone that is living a life that I think is desirable and worth living. It's those two things.
Yes.
100%. And the master key to this whole manifestation thing that's going to give power and vitality in the present moment for like rapid manifestation is the mastermind principle. What's the mastermind principle? Two or more people that work together in a spirit of harmony in the attainment of a definite purpose. Okay, so desire being the starting point, you have a dominating desire, you know what it is, you come together with two people and put those two units of energy together, it hits a spark and creates a third mind. That third mind then is able to, it's co-creation at its best.
Yeah.
Best. And then it's like rapid, boom, 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 boom.
Oof.
And like next thing you know, it's like you could literally create worldwide mastermind. If you had worldwide mastermind with all these incredible people and changing minds with the intention of love, peace, and harmony all at the same time, can you imagine what the world would be like? That'd be sick. But the thing, if you had that pure intention and you could spark that off, oh my God, that's when true change really happens.
I agree.
I'd love to have you come out and visit us.
Stay at my house, bro.
I love you.
Now that you're authorized entry into the U.S., I'd love to have you come out. We do a series of talks once every 6 weeks or so. They're called RAD Talks, Recovery Awareness Discussion. I feel like it'd be a great opportunity for our community to hear an alignment of energy. Like, you're very similar to what we're doing over here, and you'd be a really great influence for the families and the people that we serve, and it would be a great opportunity just to get another mind into our
frequency
here, our frequency
together.
So
spend time together, dude. Open invitation, brother.
What's that?
Open invitation. Stay at my house.
Dude, and hey, open invitation for you. I mean, you guys, look, if it feels good, I'm always like, if it feels, go with it, right? I mean, this whole thing with bridging called, it's not me. It's all about the people. And, I got a guy right now. He's one of the top neuroplasticity guys in the world. His name's Dr. Brody Miller. I'll send you his handle, Frankie. And he's going to help heal these buddy post. He said he can get my post-concussion 50% better, which I'm really praying, because that I get these bloody migraines, and it gets in the way of my life. So I want to show the radical healing in real time with neuroplasticity is good for everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, and obviously the brain being a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. Thought is always obviously translated into its physical or spiritual equivalent through the brain, right? So if we can heal brains, getting off pharmaceuticals, getting off alcohol, concussions, boom, the world's a better place, right? So I want to show radical healing in real time. I'd like to do it in Thailand because it's really like the land of smiles over there, and meditation and mindfulness, yada, yada. And I got a lot of Thais over there. So maybe we come together, a team of us or something like that, rent a house over there in Thailand. And, I get the camera guy. I got a sick camera guy, good editor. And like, we get like a crew, right? We get a crew. It's the Bridging crew, and we're over there. A bunch of guys have been through some stuff. We all got our stories. Set the podcast up at the fucking house. Like Emotion podcast in Thailand. We do maybe we do a bike ride over there too. Just come together like family, right?
I would love it, brother. Let's do it.
That's and show like the rawness and authenticity. Get into all the film festivals and shit, and that's film one. And then use that as a springboard, as a launching pad for like the mental health retreats, the films, and to see it allow God to work his magic.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's go, Ryan. We're out here to change the world, to help people to vibrate on a higher plane, to realize their true strength, to realize their true, that we are more powerful than we could ever have imagined in our life. That's why we put this out there, bro. You know, we come from the depths of hell, addiction, where we don't see a way out and we become something different.
Yes.
We are more powerful than we realize, man. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, brother. Like,
Yeah, thank you, man.
we love you, dude.
Love you,
We're
thank
going to
you.
do amazing things together. Let's put more energy towards what we just talked about today, and let's make it a reality, man. Everybody, where could they find you, bro? Where could people find you on social media, on
Across the
YouTube?
mountain. Okay, well, where can you find me on social media? I don't do Facebook. I was so anti-social media for years. I'm on the Instagram. It's the real Ryan Phillips. I think, is that what it is? I think so. Yeah, the real. Just type in Ryan Phillips for Christ's sakes, and you'll get it.
I believe it is the real Ryan
He's like
Phillips.
me. He doesn't even know.
Yeah, he doesn't know. But you need to be using it more because you have an amazing story. It's the Ryan
Phillips
Phillips official.
Yeah.
Oh,
At the Ryan Phillips official. Guys, go and follow my brother. Also, if you guys want to watch a great episode on Locked Up Abroad, it's that show on National Geographic. He is the episode King of Weed. You can watch him there. But really, it's about what we're doing now and what we're creating now, man. And man, it's just been a real blessing today. Thank you so much, bro.
thank you. I really, you guys are. And I mean, literally, we could just keep this going and talk all bloody day for weeks. And I'm sure we'll do more of this off camera, on camera, whatever. Yeah, super blessed. I hope there's some nuggets that some people can take away. And
Oh, there will be. Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Thank you for connecting with us on today's episode of the Emotion Podcast, where we discuss all things mental health. Connect every week as we explore incredibly intimate stories of persistence and hope. Delve into mental health education and explore valuable resources. Available on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And visit emotionwellness.com for more information.